The Galactic Concorde sat in a wide, glowing chamber above the clouds of Drazul Prime. Holograms floated in the air, showing charts of distant stars and planetary systems. In the center stood High Arbiter Zalotor, tall, sharp-scaled, with black eyes that missed nothing. "This world," Zalotor said, pointing to a blue planet in a distant solar system. "Earth, still unclaimed, still unaware." A few delegates murmured in agreement. "Our scans show minimal technology. Tribal broadcasts, limited space travel. It is time." No one questioned him. Earth had always been dismissed as primitive, barely worth attention. The Council approved his request. A diplomatic fleet would visit Earth, quietly, with hidden weapons. It would not be a negotiation. It would be control, but they were wrong. Beneath a dark sea on Earth's northern hemisphere, deep inside a shielded base, Captain Lyra Voss stood in front of the massive viewing screen, on the Vigilant Dawn's bridge. "Status?" she asked, voice calm and sharp. Her officer, Lieutenant Marin, answered. "All systems green, weapons primed, cloaking active." "Orders." Lyra studied the glowing outlines of the Concorde fleet, slowly moving through space. They were still days away, still confident, still blind. "They think we're sleeping," she said. "Let's not wake them just yet." Earth was not what the galaxy believed it to be. For over 300 years, humans had hidden behind a quantum cloak. They had watched, listened, and learned. Alien probes were captured and dissected. Crashed ships became blueprints. A global alliance formed in the shadows, building new cities underground and in orbit. They trained in silence. They planned in silence. Now, the time had come. Lyra walked through the corridors of the Vigilant Dawn. Soldiers and scientists nodded as she passed. Everyone knew their role. Everyone knew the history. She stopped before a large black wall filled with names. Her fingers brushed the engraved letters. Her brother's name was there, taken by an alien scout ship when she was just 12. Never returned. No body, no answer. That was why she joined. Why she rose through the hidden ranks. Why she volunteered to lead Earth's first strike. Back on the bridge, a red light pulsed. "Incoming transmission," Marin said. "From the Concorde fleet." "Play it," Lyra said. A tall silver alien appeared on screen. His voice was smooth, practiced. "To the leaders of Earth, we come in peace. We wish to offer guidance, protection, and connection to the stars." Lyra's face stayed blank. "End transmission," she said. "Record my reply." A green light blinked. "This is Captain Lyra Voss of Earth," she said. "We know who you are. We know what you've done. Earth is not lost. Earth is not weak. You are not welcome." She nodded to Marin. "Send it." The bridge was silent. Then she spoke one more word. "Prepare." Far above Earth, the Vigilant Dawn turned toward the stars, engines glowing softly in the black. War was coming, but this time Earth would strike first. The Vigilant Dawn drifted in the darkness, cloaked in silence. Around it, the stars blinked cold and quiet. Inside, the crew moved with quiet purpose. There was no panic, no fear, only focus. Captain Lyra Voss stood in the command chair, her eyes fixed on the display in front of her. "The Concorde fleet is approaching Sector 7, said Lieutenant Marin. 3 warships, 2 scout vessels, and 1 command cruiser. Lyra nodded. Just as expected. They had studied the Concorde's patrol patterns for years. The alien empire never sent its best for early contact missions. They underestimated young planets, especially ones they thought were still learning to build rockets. Earth had let them believe that lie. "Bring weapons online," Lyra said, "and hold position. We strike at my command." In the black emptiness of space, the Concorde fleet moved slowly. Their ships glowed with smooth silver light. They had no shields raised, no weapons armed. They believed they were entering an unclaimed system. They believed they were gods, bringing order to dust. Inside the Concorde command cruiser, a pilot yawned. "Strange readings, sir," another officer said. Something moving, just off the edge of our scan field. The commander laughed. This planet barely knows how to send messages. You're seeing shadows. They saw nothing more. Until it was too late. The vigilant Dawn fired first. A burst of energy sliced through the darkness, striking the Concorde scout ship at the rear. It exploded in a bright flash. No time for shields, no time for escape. Before the aliens could respond, 2 more blasts followed. Another scout and a warship were hit. Silence was replaced by panic. Raise shields, return fire. The Concorde commander shouted, but the vigilant Dawn was already moving. It zipped through the chaos like a ghost, cloaked and swift, striking from different angles. Earth's stealth tech gave it the upper hand. Their AI-driven targeting systems were faster than anything the aliens had seen. One by one, the alien ships began to fall. On the vigilant Dawn's bridge, Lyra watched without flinching. "Status?" she asked. 3 ships down, 1 disabled. The command cruiser is trying to retreat. Marin said. Lyra stood. Not today. She walked to the front console and opened a direct channel to the fleeing ship. The Concorde commander's face appeared. His forehead was bleeding. Sparks flew behind him. Who are you?" "I told you already," Lyra said calmly. "We are Earth." She cut the line and gave the order. Fire. The final shot struck the Concorde command cruiser. It broke apart in the cold silence of space, scattering debris like ashes. Back on Earth, people in hidden cities watched the broadcast. For the first time in history, the world saw its enemy burn in the skies above. A message flashed across every secure terminal. "Mission complete, Earth has spoken." Later, Lyra sat alone in her quarters. She opened a small metal box and pulled out an old photo. Her brother smiling beside her in the sun. "We're not victims anymore," she whispered. She placed the photo back inside and sealed the box. In deep space, a signal was sent. It echoed across Concorde-controlled sectors. "To all who listen, Earth is not yours. We do not seek war. But if you bring it, we will finish it." Seen high above Earth, the vigilant Dawn turned its engines toward the stars once more. This had only just begun. The vigilant Dawn floated silently above a dead moon, hidden again under its quantum cloak. The ship was scarred from battle, but fully operational. Inside, the crew moved through dim corridors, checking systems and repairing damage. Captain Lyra Voss stood at the observation window in her private quarters, staring at the stars. They seemed peaceful, but she knew better. She replayed the battle in her mind. The way the alien ships fell, the fear in the Concorde commander's eyes, the silence after the last shot. The mission was a success, but Lyra didn't feel victorious. In the command center, the officers gathered around the holotable. A glowing map of nearby Concorde sectors rotated slowly. "We've sent a message," said Lieutenant Marin. "But it won't stop them." Lyra entered, arms crossed. "No, it won't. We hit 1 fleet. They'll send more. And next time they'll be ready." "Maybe it's time to talk," said Ensign Kara. She was young, sharp, and not afraid to speak. "We showed them we're strong. Maybe now we can demand peace." Lyra looked at her. "They don't want peace. They want control. Always have. But if we become what they are," Kara started. "We won't," Lyra said firmly. "We're defending ourselves, not conquering." Kara lowered her eyes, but said nothing more. The room was quiet. Later that night, Lyra walked the lower decks alone. She paused by the memorial wall again, running her fingers across her brother's name. A wave of memories hit her. His laughter, his dreams, the day he was taken. She still remembered the sound of the alien ship, the way the light swallowed him, the silence that followed. They told her he was gone. No explanation, no justice. She never forgot. That memory became her purpose. The next morning, Earth Command sent new orders. The Vigilant Dawn was to begin a new mission. Recon and sabotage of Concorde supply routes near the outer rim. Lyra gave the command. Plot a course, quiet and clean. The ship moved again, silent in the dark. Over the next few days, the crew executed hit-and-run strikes. They disabled beacons, hacked communications, disrupted fuel stations, every time they left before enemy ships arrived. The Concorde never saw them coming. Each success gave the crew more confidence, but also more questions. One night in the mess hall, Kara approached Lyra again. "Captain," she said, keeping her voice low, "how far are we willing to go?" Lyra looked up from her meal. "As far as we must. To protect Earth, or to punish them." Lyra paused. "Both." Kara nodded slowly and left. In a Concorde station many light years away, High Arbiter Zaltor stared at a list of destroyed outposts. His claws dug into the metal table. "How is this possible?" he hissed. An aide stepped forward. "The humans are not what we thought." Galtor's eyes narrowed. "Then we must remind them who rules the stars." He turned to the command screen. "Send word to the Inquisitorial fleet. Prepare the Prime Armada. Earth will kneel or burn." Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Lyra watched a recording sent from Earth. A woman's voice spoke over images of rebuilding cities, underground labs, and orbital shipyards. "We stood silent for centuries. We were underestimated. That ends now. Earth will rise, and the galaxy will remember." The screen faded to black. Lyra turned to her crew. This was just the beginning. The Vigilant Dawn glided silently through the void, cloaked and alone. The stars stretched in every direction, cold and distant. Ahead lay their most dangerous mission yet, infiltrating a central Concorde archive station near the heart of their territory. Captain Lyra Voss stood in the war room with her senior officers. A hologram of the archive station rotated slowly above the table. It was a massive structure, shaped like a spiked wheel, orbiting a red giant star. "This station stores historical records, surveillance data, and ancient Concorde files," said Lieutenant Marin. "It's heavily protected, but if we want to understand why they fear us, we need to get inside." Lyra stared at the rotating structure. "And we need answers they won't give us willingly." She tapped a section of the outer ring. "We enter here. No alarms, no bloodshed unless necessary. We get what we need, and get out." The team nodded. 4 hours later, a small shuttle launched from the Vigilant Dawn, cloaked and silent. Lyra piloted it herself. Marin and Kara were with her, along with 2 tech officers. As they approached the station, they used stolen Concorde signals to bypass the outer scans. The station never knew they were there. They docked, cut through a maintenance hatch, and slipped inside. The inside of the Concorde archive station was cold and dim, full of tall corridors, humming lights, and flickering data screens. The team moved quietly, avoiding guards and security bots. In the data core, Kara plugged in a stolen Earth AI module. "Decrypting files now," she whispered. "Give me 2 minutes." Lyra stood watch at the door, her weapon ready. Suddenly, images flashed on the screen. She turned to see what they had found, and froze. The records revealed Earth had once been part of the galactic community, over 2,000 years ago. Humans had reached the stars earlier than anyone believed. They had colonized, traded, even fought in galactic wars. But something had gone wrong. According to the Concorde records, humans were seen as unstable, too emotional, too inventive, and too dangerous. So the Concorde made a decision. They erased Earth from the maps. They destroyed the colonies. They quarantined the planet. They let time bury the truth. Kara's voice shook. "They didn't ignore us. They feared us. That's why they hid us." Marin clenched his fists. "They tried to wipe us out." Lyra stared at the screen. Her heart pounded. They weren't just defending a small world. They were reclaiming a stolen legacy. An alarm suddenly blared. "They found us," Kara said. "We've got 10 minutes before this place locks down. Copy the files. Let's move." The team grabbed what they could and sprinted back to the shuttle. Alarms echoed through the halls. Lights flashed red. As they launched away, Concorde fighters scrambled to chase, But the vigilant Dawn was already moving in, weapons hot. It fired a short burst to cover the shuttle, then disappeared with it into the dark. Back aboard the ship, the crew watched the decrypted footage in silence. They saw Earth's lost colonies, human explorers long forgotten, entire worlds that had once flown Earth's flag, now dust and silence. They took everything, Marin whispered. Lyra stood still. No, she said quietly. They tried, but we're still here. She looked out the window at the stars. This isn't just survival anymore, she said. It's truth and justice. We're not just defending Earth, we're reminding the galaxy who we are. Far away, in his private chamber, High Arbiter Zaltor watched the same data leak spreading across Concord space. He smashed a glass console in fury. Impossible, he growled. They found it. He turned to his generals. Begin the purge. Earth will not rise again. But it was too late. Earth had risen, and it was not afraid. The red light of a dying star bathed the vigilant Dawn in a deep crimson glow. The star was unstable, its surface crackling with violent solar flares. Around it, space was quiet. Empty, but not for long. Captain Lyra Vos stood at the bridge window, arms behind her back. Is the bait in place? She asked. Lieutenant Marin nodded. Yes, Captain. We leaked false data, made it look like Earth's main fleet is hiding in this system. They took the bait. Good, Lyra said. Then they'll bring everything they've got. Across the galaxy, High Arbiter Jaltor received the report. Confirmed signal, his officer said. The humans are hiding near the dying star in Sector 14. Jaltor stood tall. This ends now. Prepare the Prime Armada. Within hours, a massive Concord fleet, 20 ships, heavily armed, jumped into the system. Their ships spread out, scanning for cloaked vessels, unaware that they were flying straight into a trap. On the vigilant Dawn, Lyra watched calmly as the alien ships arrived. All units hold position, she said. Let them think we're scattered. Her fleet, 6 advanced Earth ships, all cloaked, waited silently in the system, hidden among the debris of old moons and mining stations. Let them get comfortable. The Concord fleet pushed forward, forming a net. Jaltor's flagship, the Judgment Sun, moved to the center. Still no visual, one Concord officer said. Keep looking, Jaltor growled. They're here. I can feel it. That's when it happened. A sudden pulse, then a flash. Then the trap was sprung. The vigilant Dawn and 5 other Earth warships uncloaked and opened fire at once. Beams of energy and kinetic rounds tore through Concord formations. The enemy ships, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Shields up, Marin shouted. Target their flagships, Lyra ordered. The space around the dying star erupted in chaos. Fighters danced between warships. Explosions lit the dark. Earth's stealth ships struck with speed and precision, vanishing after each hit. Concord ships fired wildly, unsure of where to aim. But Jaltor was not a fool. He adjusted quickly. Surround the star, he commanded. Force them into the core. More Concord ships closed in, forcing the Earth fleet toward the unstable star. Lyra saw it. He's trying to box us in. He wants us to burn. Marin looked at her. What now? We finish this. Lyra opened a direct channel to the Judgment Sun. Jaltor's face appeared. Calm, cold, confident. So, he said. You finally show your face, human. You erased us, Lyra said. But we're still here. You are chaos, unfit to rise. Your kind must be controlled. No, Lyra said firmly. Your fear doesn't make you wise. It makes you a coward. Jaltor snarled. This galaxy belongs to order. And Earth will fall again. Lyra leaned closer to the screen. Not this time. She cut the channel. Target the Judgment Sun, she said. Focus fire. Now all 6 Earth ships turned and fired everything they had. Missiles, lasers and particle cannons slammed into the Concord flagship's shields. One by one, its defenses failed. Inside, Jaltor stood frozen, watching his ship fall apart around him. A final blast hit the reactor. The Judgment Sun exploded in a wave of fire and metal, the shock wave pushing other Concorde ships off course. The battle turned. Without their leader, the enemy began to break stock one by one. The remaining ships retreated into jump space. Silence returned. Debris floated between the Earth ships. The Vigilant Dawn was damaged but still flying. Inside, the crew cheered. Some wept. Others stood in quiet disbelief. Lyra sat in her chair, breathing heavily. "Stockwave, we did it," Marin whispered. Lyra nodded. "This battle is over." But her eyes stayed cold. The war isn't. Far away, in hidden Concorde chambers, other leaders watched the footage. For the first time in centuries, they saw a Concorde fleet destroyed by Earth, and they were afraid. The stars were quiet again. Wreckage drifted near the dying star, glowing faintly as it cooled. Bits of Concorde metal, shattered drones, and blackened hull fragments floated silently. The battlefield was still, but the memory of the fight hung heavy in the air. On board the Vigilant Dawn, the crew worked in near silence. Fires had been put out. Casualties were counted. Systems were being restored. Captain Lyra Voss stood in the medical bay. She looked down at a row of covered bodies. 5 of her people had died in the battle. 2 more were critically injured. She didn't speak. She only nodded. Then she turned and walked out. In the command center, Lieutenant Marin waited beside the tactical map. Red and green lights blinked across the galactic sector. The Earth fleet had scattered after the battle, each ship returning to safe zones to repair. Marin spoke softly. "We lost 23 total. Concorde lost over 1,000. But we still lost." Lyra stepped closer, her voice calm. "Every life matters, even in victory." He nodded. "The broadcast is ready. Let's begin." Across Earth and hidden colonies in orbit, a video transmission began. The screen showed Lyra Voss standing on the bridge, eyes steady, uniform torn from battle. "This is Captain Lyra Voss of Earth," she said. "We fought the Concorde and won. But this is not a celebration. This is a warning." Images of fallen soldiers, burning wreckage, and injured civilians appeared on the screen. "We did not start this war, but we will finish it if we must. We are not invaders. We are not conquerors. We are survivors." Her voice sharpened. "We remember the lies told about us. We remember the silence they forced on us. But now the galaxy will remember us for what we truly are: awake, prepared, and unafraid." She stepped back as the Earth emblem filled the screen. "We are Earth. We are still here." In the mess hall later that evening, the crew sat in small groups. Some shared stories. Others sat in silence. A few quietly wept. Kara walked over to Lyra. "Captain," she said, her voice low, "we won the fight. But what if the next one costs even more?" Lyra looked at her. "It probably will." Kara frowned. "Then when do we stop?" "When the galaxy stops fearing our survival," Lyra said. "When truth replaces silence." Kara nodded slowly, not fully satisfied, but understanding. Far below, Earth itself was changing. For the first time in centuries, it began to decloak. Massive orbital arrays pulled back the quantum shielding. The planet was no longer hidden. Blue oceans and green lands shimmered in the void, visible to every telescope in the galaxy. The signal was clear. Earth was open. Earth was watching. In the Concorde Council chambers, there was silence. Holograms showed Earth's message on repeat. Some leaders whispered of peace. Others demanded war. One old alien, eyes full of fear, said simply, "They have returned." Back aboard the Vigilant Dawn, Lyra stood at the observation deck. Below, Earth glowed peacefully. For now, Marin walked up beside her. "New orders, Captain, from Earth Command." She turned slightly. "What do they say?" "Stand by. New mission coming soon. Diplomatic efforts are being considered." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "After everything?" Marin shrugged. "Maybe it's time." Lyra looked at her planet one last time. Then she turned away. "We'll be ready. Either way." The vigilant Dawn rested quietly in Earth's upper orbit. Its hull was patched and battle-worn, a scarred survivor of a war that was still far from over. Below, Earth glowed peacefully, blue, green, and alive. The planet was no longer hiding. For the first time in centuries, it was visible to the entire galaxy. Inside the ship, Captain Lyra Voss stood alone in her quarters. Her uniform was clean again, but the tiredness in her eyes remained. She stared at a small metal box on the desk. Slowly, she opened it. Inside was the photo of her brother, young, smiling. She held it in her hands for a long time. Then she placed it back and closed the lid. In the command center, the crew waited quietly. They had received a new transmission from Earth Command just minutes ago. Lyra entered the room and walked to the center. Marin stepped forward and handed her a datapad. "New mission orders, Captain." She read them silently, then looked up at her crew. "They want us to explore, not conquer, not fight. Observe, make contact on our terms." Kara raised her eyebrows. "Peace? Maybe," Lyra said. "Maybe not. But we don't run anymore. We face the galaxy as equals now." The ship came to life. Engines hummed. Lights flickered on. Crew members took their positions. Navigation systems charted a new course, outward toward unknown stars. As the vigilant Dawn turned away from Earth, a message was sent to all nearby sectors. "This is Earth. We are not lost. We are not afraid. We are coming, not to kneel, but to stand." In a Concorde listening station on the edge of the Vurex expanse, an officer watched the signal come through. "They've launched again," he whispered. "Same ship, same captain." His superior stared at the screen for a long time. "Let them come," he said. "Let us see who they really are." Back on the vigilant Dawn, Lyra stood at the main window, watching the stars stretch ahead of her. She spoke quietly to no one in particular. "We survived silence. We survived lies. Now we speak for ourselves." Kara walked up beside her. "Where to first, Captain?" Lyra gave a small, tired smile. "Where the stars don't know our name yet." The ship began to move, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. Earth's first voice in centuries, carried not in fear, but in purpose.